Greetings and salutations, my lovelies. Bardic Kitty here, bringing you part 2 of Viewer's Choice. And so last Thursday I had posted the sketching and inking portion of this drawing, and so today I'm bringing you the coloring. One of the main things that I've had trouble with on this one was just finding the time to get it done, since I am also doing the mermaid stuff, but I managed to do it. And as soon as I get this started uploading, I'm going to go and work on mermaid for today, and hopefully we'll have a video to post tonight of day 3 and 4 of mermaid. So we will see how that goes. Either way, it will get drawn. I'm not sure if I'll have time to post the video, and if not, then I'll just post a compilation of them later on. But they are happening. If you follow me on Instagram or Facebook or Tumblr, I've been posting them as I've been working on them on there. So links to all of my social medias are always in the description. So if you want to follow me on any or all of those platforms, you can check that out and see the progress of my mermaid pieces as they come along. So if you didn't see last week's video, I basically had these two characters I designed for these spirograph framed portraits that I did, and that was like 2 Thursdays ago. And then for the viewer's choice, I took a bunch of suggestions, and the one that was chosen was to take those characters I had created, and in particular this fighter character she was the most interested, I believe, in that one, and do a piece that kind of further developed their characters and like kind of characterized them in an interesting way. So what I ended up coming up with is, you know, rather than doing something like where she's protecting the blonde character, that they're actually friends, and, you know, she's not the type to get into too much trouble, so she isn't in need of protecting, but she shows up after the fight, and she's like, I believe one of the comments I got on last week's video was, you know, stay hydrated, you idiot, basically. So, you know, she doesn't really approve, but, you know, they're friends, and she's like, whatever, I'm staying out of it, but I'm going to make sure that you're not, like, dead somewhere, too. So, you know, whatever. Disclaimer that I gave last weekend, I know absolutely nothing about big city life or urban stuff or street gangs or anything like that. So, again, I said a lot of stuff last week about the fighter character and how she's, you know, maybe not necessarily part of a gang, but that she has like a turf where she like protects people and stops people from being stupid and doing mean things to people that really isn't necessary. I don't know, just she seems like a brawler type, but not like the let's just go out and violence for violence sake. She's, you know, is the type that would want to be helping people, not just getting into fights just to beat people up. The main thing on this was, or one of the other main things about this was I couldn't remember exactly which colors I used for which parts of the characters, and so like I think her hair and skin did end up slightly different colors, like, or slightly different, like if her skin turned out darker, partially because the light marker I was using was running low on ink, so I kind of emphasized the shadows more than I maybe would have otherwise, including those abs. Like, I didn't even realize as I was doing it just how ripped she ended up looking. But it kind of works for the character, I think, so hopefully you guys think that's okay. But yeah, so I had to rediscover which colors I used for which sections, and then also develop the rest of their outfits and everything. You know, I could have looked back through the video, but I didn't really have time, and so I was just like, okay, these look close enough. And, you know, it works. It's whatever it is. When I drew them originally the first time, I didn't really think that I'd be drawing them again, so I didn't make note of which colors I used for what. When I develop a character and it's something that I know I definitely want to draw again at some point in the future, I actually do make little cards that have, like, which colors I used for, like, their hair or their skin or their, you know, fur if it's an animal character or whatever. So I do have a few of those. And then now we're getting into the background. We're about halfway through and I feel like I've done nothing but ramble stupidly, but that's the way I usually feel when I do these videos, so hopefully you guys don't mind. So I cut out sections of the background, in particular anytime I was working on the brickwork or the grout or concrete or whatever that's holding it together, just because it's a lot of the same thing over and over and over again. And so I figured that rather than making you sit through that much more footage, it would make more sense just to kind of trim it down. I had intended to do some practice and some experimenting and figure out the best way to do the textures on this background. But because of Mermaid and me being silly and not getting started until it was too late, I didn't have time to. So I kind of just flew off, you know, whatever, did it by the seat of my pants or whatever the saying is, and just kind of was like, I'm gonna hope this works. So for like the concrete part at the bottom underneath the brickwork, I just tried to put some kind of texture in there, but otherwise just kind of, you know, kept it kind of normal looking. And then for the bricks, I was like, bricks just have really random texture, whatever. And so I basically ended up doing some basic shading as I was using each of the darker markers, but then also just kind of like randomly scratching on some, or not scratching, obviously, like coloring on some random like streaks and dots and whatever to kind of make that texture. And you'll see that here in a moment. And then I went over it just with the lightest color again, although towards the end that one died and I had to actually use the next darkest of that type of color, and I think it still worked out okay. It was just like on like 6 or so bricks at the very end. But you can see here where I'm starting to build up that texture, and like I said, I had no idea how this was going to work. I really just kind of kept my fingers crossed and just did it, because you never know until you try, right? And I have to say, I am really happy with the way it turned out. Maybe not the thing as a whole with like the grout or concrete sections, like kind of, they definitely could have been better, but the bricks themselves, I'm extremely happy with the way that looked. And hopefully you guys will agree that it turned out well. I'm running out of things to say about it. As always, you know, I am always more than happy to take suggestions for things to draw. I would love to do another thing like this in the future. I don't believe I mentioned it, but the Tupperware or Gladware container, whatever, that I had the suggestions for this video that I recorded myself drawing one out last week in the first part. I have kept that. I actually put the lid on it and all of those suggestions are still there in that little Gladware container. So any suggestions I get moving on in the future, I will continue to add to that. And if I get to the point where I have a bit more time, then I would like to possibly even do a new weekly or at least monthly like viewer's choice series of drawings that's separate from my regular speed paints. Just because my goal is to make things that will make people happy and, you know, try to spread color and joy in the world, and, you know, just, I like to make art that people want and that people are gonna like. So that is a goal for me. Yes, it's my job, you know, I'm doing air quotes, not that you can see that, you know, quote unquote my job, and so I do have to, you know, make money off of it, but at the same time I do it because I love making the art and I love seeing people's reactions and like the joy of like a recognized character or something new that they haven't seen before that they really like. And I don't know, I mean, I do this for you guys as much as I do it for myself. It's something I enjoy and I like to share it with people. So that was a random tangent. Anyway, I'm finishing up here with the no parking anytime sign, and I kind of goofed on a couple of parts on that, but I think it turned out okay. You know, pretty much the whole thing was just kind of, I don't have as much time as I would like to put into this, but let's try to make it work. And I think I made it work, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Hopefully here in a little bit I will be posting my mermaid days 3 and 4 video. If not, it probably won't happen until the end of the weekend, because like I said, like I said in one of my previous videos, I don't know, I do have a convention coming up this weekend, so I will be leaving for that early tomorrow morning. I will be creating mermaid pieces while I'm there, but I won't be able to record them, but I will post a compilation where I show you each day's new mermaid, and then whatever video footage for Mondays probably is when that will happen. But hopefully day 3 and 4 will go up later tonight. And there is the finished piece. I hope you like it, and thank you all very much for watching. I love you all, and I hope you have a beautiful week.